Hey guys, Sunstreaker Wozza here, and welcome to mine and Texas video on the top 15 warbots for 2023. If you're struggling with HQ 18 and how to go about beating these top level bases, this is the place for you to look. So, big thank you to Tex for joining me today.
Yeah, good to have you back on stream, mate. It's been a while since our last one.
Me and Tex, previous to us starting this video, sort of sat down, wrote our top 15 warbots, and we've sort of put both lists together. I know previously done Tex's list and done my list, and I get people might be a bit confused by that. I'm not sure who to follow. I thought, you know what we're going to do? We're going to combine mine and Tex's together and give you a ultimate list of these are the top 15 warbots in the game that you should be going for if you're a top level player and want to improve in the game. At number 15 we have Blaster. So Blaster was on my list. Was he on your list?
No, not on my list.
So obviously last time we did these ratings, Blaster was really high, and he has dropped down the ratings because the Warriors and how good they are. Is that why it wasn't on your list? Because there's too many good Warriors out there?
Yeah, I think that's what it's coming down to. It's playing to the strengths of the game, and I know a lot of people when we talk about combats and the minions and factors and stuff like that, and you know, I remember our ongoing debate about the whole Nor versus Blaster thing. It was like more HP and stuff, but the practicality behind Blaster has just never been there for me, and even through now, it's just not a good top option.
I know people
A
still use him
control.
well. So I understand. So I recently dropped him from my team, put him back in, dropped him back out, and I kind of called it Yoki Koki as a joke because I can't make my mind up whether he goes in or not. And people were saying like, I think you're mad was for taking him out because you can just throw him at a Titan that's been defeated. You can throw the minions that way and they'll take the damage. And I still see value in him. That's the reason I keep putting him in because I can see in certain situations he can still be really valuable, but it's still that HP for me. Being a frontline tank, the HP is what it doesn't have that value anymore at the start of the battles. It's more towards the end that I think he has
I
value.
think I think like sometimes we can overvalue health, especially now with the whole warrior aspect because we're having warrior high base health plus their shields. Blaster being special type doesn't gain that shield.
True,
So even though
true.
the base health is somewhat comparable to some of the great warriors that are currently used, he still will die.
So in 14th place is Red Alert and Run Amok.
That's the one.
So I don't think he was in my rating, but in yours. But I do see value in him. We do see him on defense. I still see people
Yeah.
using him on attack. So for me, it's just a lack of DPS. He has got good health as a gunner, but I've said in the past that I like my tanks to be tanks, my gunners to do damage, and my healers to heal. And that's pretty rigid, and that's how I like it. Not everyone plays that style, I understand that. But for me, Red Alert is a gunner, but offers more kind of protection.
I mean, we've sort of got, a mesh of play styles, like obviously combining a list here. And it's like, I think we had a little bit of a discussion off air where it's more potentially bots like Red Alert play into the rush style,
True,
right?
true.
Between, say, a Red Alert and a mix of tracks, and you rush everything under, as long as the FFD's gone, your squad is pretty much invincible. Again, it's a support bot. I use him on defense. A lot of people now see Red Alert on defense, and mixed with Nightstick, that DPS is super high. So if you're getting that sort of damage reduction plus canceling out healing and healing via Nightstick, that support kind of role becomes pretty high and pretty valuable in terms of usefulness and usable in war. Yeah, I think that's why it's on the list for me.
Yeah, I think as well when you've got a bot that is good on defense and on attack. And like I said, the FFD was a big one. I think people are slowly going away a bit from more FFDs. Well, they tend to now, they're sort of coming back a bit more because of the Warriors. So
Yeah, I think they're coming back a bit more now. I
yeah,
think
yeah, yeah,
it's opening holes for some other strategies, and that's just the evolving game nature.
yeah.
So
I think that's why I don't see value in him really, is because of that. And as FFD will go away again one day, then that might bring Red Alert back. But still a good bot, regardless. Still a bot I would consider. If you get, you won't be disappointed with. In 13th place, we have Hot Rod and Nemesis Prime.
It's just another one of those sort of similar concepts where
Hmm.
support style, those looking to go away from two healers, again affected by FFDs, but I'd like to think that a lot of top players are knowing how to mitigate or counter build bots that affect playstyles. So if you're getting rid of those FFDs just fine, someone like Hot Rod, I mean, he's just making someone invincible.
The current meta, or maybe the last few months, we've seen a lot of people going towards anti-healing build bots, where people are running for. I run for them at the minute. I know what you run, but people running a lot of those. Do you think we'll see people going towards a lot more FFDs with the likes of Pipes, Ironhide, Hot Rod, Red Alert, bots like this being used more and more in wars?
I think when it comes to making a defense, right, you're accepting how do you wish to be attacked. We all try to sort of funnel the most amount of play styles attacking against us and then make that counter. I think the anti heal, I think that's a bit more of a placebo effect because people are worried about I can't heal. Then they start thinking, well, if I run two healers, so that makes two useless bots, right? And you've already got into that player's head. Whereas for me, I'm like, if I killed everything, what do I need to be healed for? If I have FFDs out there, I'm preventing them from using bots until they remove that. So for me, FFDs, I think people are cluing on a bit and maybe going for a blend of two FFDs, maybe one anti heal. It's generally two minimum FFDs, I think, on a good base. Yeah, I just how you want to be attacked after that.
And in 12th place is SG Jetfire. I don't think this guy was on your list either. I think this is on my list.
No.
So the reason that I put him so high on my list is simply because he's the only person that can one shot left.
Mm.
So if you're struggling to take out that shield gen, this guy will do that. I understand that some people won't have multiple bots like we do, multiple choices. So if someone's looking for a way to combat that shield gen and thinking, what's the one bot that will do that, this guy will do it for you. And that's why I sort of put him so highly. It's a simple option, quite costly still, yeah. High HP though, good DPS. So I think it's a good all-round bot for someone that's just looking for an answer for that shield gen.
Through the testing, I think we all thought, oh, this is the bot they're trying to make to counter an MDS. Obviously, that was back in HQ 17, 17.5. 18's coming out. So then people just started focusing on just the shield generator itself. And this bot became that sort of one shot, one focus, but super high DPS, obviously just naturally being a jet. A lot of them will either have the nightstick or the pinpointer combat on him and just use him for like just general walks. Just too expensive for me to be a frontline sort of warbot. Now with I suppose the change in effects a little bit regarding the healing, the anti-healing or healing, however you want to look at it on defense, and the combos coming into it, new bots, Alpha Trions or whatever, the Infernos, you know, a lot of those people who may not have SG Jetfire can maybe go back to their normal Jetfires, Fireflies, and stuff like that, who could be at a cheaper costing. So, look, I think there's a purpose he's on the list for, and it's the shield generator. So SG for SG, right?
And next on the list is your man Inferno, stroke Rod and Machine Cronus. High on your list of warbots. So the reason that I personally wouldn't put it up there, I've spoke this, is that again, going back to I like my bots to do set jobs. So I like my tanks to be tanks. I like my gunners to do damage and my healers to heal. I do have sometimes tracks, things like that, to sort of who's purely a support bot. But Inferno's sort of that grey area of he's a support bot but doesn't do anything on his own. He just emphasizes other bots what they do. So that's why I wasn't a fan of Ariel, wasn't a fan of Alpha Trion, not really a fan of Inferno. And that's not to say that they're a bad bot, just doesn't suit my playstyle, like we talked about playstyles earlier.
And look, and that's fine. Like we've always said that, right? Like there's some need to have individuality with the game because if we all ran the same eight, pretty boring.
Yeah.
We have our favorite characters and so forth. A 40% buff on abilities, DPS, it's pretty big. Not a huge cost. Pretty decent health. Like I got a maxed 4-star now, level 70. So it's pushing 40k health for a 4-star. So it was easy to level, cheap. Not a bot you're building a team around at all, but it's, for me, it's one of those final pieces that helps the other 7 really do their job.
Yeah, I think it's important to also mention as well. This bot's only a 4-star at the minute.
Mm.
I think most of the bots that we talk about in here is considering the 5-star version. So when we
Mm.
include, obviously, bots like that, to have a 4-star version in this list, I think it's an easy option for people to go and get, rather than waiting to get a 5-star, waiting to get 5-star shards. If you're a new player and you're limited in options, it's a very good option to obviously help you beat certain bases that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, because you don't have the right
I think,
damage and stuff.
I think a lot of people would just already have them. It's overlooked because it's a 4-star, but there are certain 4-stars in the game that, we talk about the tracks and stuff like that, where when bots don't need a 5-star, that's a good 4-star bot.
Yeah. In 10th place, we have Slingshot, aka Acid Storm. So I think this guy was he on your list at all, or just my list?
No, just your list.
So obviously when we see a bot that's on my list but not on yours, that obviously means that I place these quite high up. And I still use a 4-star, even in wars now, with quite far away build bots. Is a very cheap option. So when I come against a base where the build bots are in the back, but I know they're going to be a problem, then Slingshot goes in my team to take them out. Very cheap and cost effective. A lot of people do still use him for that cluster. I use other options, which we'll talk about later on, but I see him as, a sort of multiple use bot.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's straight up. It's the acid, right? Like, he come out during the times when now acid become a thing, which I think is great, right? It's just part of the meta. We're bringing in bots that have abilities that suit the meta. I see him more as a very useful combo bot, and just straight up for the cluster. I would never bring a bot to use specifically just for build bots. The cost for what you're trying to achieve, in my mind, for my playstyle, it doesn't warrant those points being used. I use a different bot to counter build bots. I've seen the Slingshot used with either fire, the current bonus, but also with maybe other bots like an air raid, just on those cheap buildings. So you're getting like this massive clearing. I don't like one shots. I think that's what more where it's at. I don't feel like I'm getting the bang for the points that I'm investing. It can work with Slingshot, but in a combo, just not one target.
And next on the list is Springer.
Not on your list.
No, but I can see value in him. And that's obviously why sort of these guys are sort of high up, because obviously you see massive value in Springer. And all I know is that if I was to go for the batch of Springers in batch 3, he would be the battered one out of that batch. Plain and simple. So obviously I see good value in him. Really good healing. I just don't like the fact he's got 2 abilities, but no one ever uses the second one. No, everyone pretty much uses the healing.
To speak about, I suppose, the negative point about that whole second ability and it's not used. I got asked recently, like, do I use the defensive ability? And I was like, look, not really. We don't use him the way that I think he was created for. I use him for a mobile healer, having my Cronus on him, also Nightstick on him. He never dies, right? He's just getting super healed, let alone having someone like Minerva behind him as well. It was great for different strategies, whether it be backdoor, you could delay split. So like if you could start clearing a certain area with just Springer and then fly him over to your team. Like that's just
how I
so
use him.
handy.
That's the value I see in him. Yeah.
Right. So the versatility about it, because worst comes to worst, half my team is on a split base if they go north, like because Warriors tend to just straight up walk, and it's like, you know what? See you later, guys. I fly Springer back down to the other group. You can't do that with other healers, Hoist doesn't give you that. Healers don't give you that. Springer is just the best triple changer out there for me.
And next on the list we have Trax Stroke Cutthroat. Again, I think it's important to mention that these are the only 4-star version. There's no 5-star version in the game. Probably the best 4-star in the game. I think these are on my list and they're not on yours. I'm surprised they weren't on your list, considering how much they're used in the game and how good they actually are. And they're kind of viewed as like a sort of noob bot.
Yeah.
It's like,
well,
but it's
I
so
suppose
valuable.
maybe would you think it's I think it's a bit more playstyle dependent because of why do you need tracks is the question. What do I need 80% or whatever protection he has? Why do I need that? Am I slow walking through a base so that, I'm taking a lot of damage over time, choke points, you sort of pop it at the start. I don't want to get killed on the pad. You walk through, pop it at a choke point. I'm going to be stopped there a while. I don't want to get hammered. Or am I rushing and I've just got, 90% of the base on me? It's too heavy. I need tracks protection, right? So strategy dependent as to why you should need tracks. But if you're running those strategies, it's a must have. Pretty strong as a 4, right? Like I said, there's pretty rare 4 stars that are worth having.
Yeah.
So tracks is definitely up there. Just be mindful of the FFTs, right?
Yeah.
So if I was you, I would carry smokescreen, get those FFTs out of the way, knock yourself out. Tracks spam.
Yeah, well, I always think about these lists and think about a new player sort of starting a game today, watching this video and thinking, right, what bots have I got to aim for? And I don't think if you go for tracks, you'll be disappointed getting him as a 4 star
No.
ever from now until maybe the end of the game. I always think you will see value in him no matter what. It's a good bot to go and get, maybe buy a bundle for, go and chase. I don't think you're disappointed. The meta always changes. There's bots in here that 6 months ago, a year ago, were number one on the list, no longer.
Yeah.
Bots vice versa, nowhere on the list, and all of a sudden at the top. But I think Trax has always sort of been there throughout every single HQ. Obviously, really valuable. I just think he's a good bot to go and chase. So there's the bottom half of our list of top 15 bots for HQ 18 for 2023. So join us for our next video where we'll be covering the next top 7 bots coming soon. So thanks Tex for joining me for this video again, and tune in
It's been
soon.
fun as always.
Yeah, tune in soon guys for the top 7. Come back and see us.